Now, inventories comes under the accounting standard known as AS2. So many companies have got inventories as their major asset. So these are all the accounting standards which have been specifically designed, developed. When we talk about the stockbrokers who buy and sell commodities, good morning and welcome to the session 5 in unit 3 in IFRS, that is the International Financial Reporting Standards, and we are going to speak about inventories. Now, inventories comes under the accounting standard known as AS2. Accounting standard 2 will talk about inventories, and this is what they try to talk about the inventory. The objective of the standard is to prescribe the accounting treatment for inventories. So this is the accounting standard AS2, which will talk about why inventories are important, what is the meaning of inventory, the scope of inventory, and the purpose. Now, any primary issue in accounting for inventory is the amount of cost to be recognized as an asset and carried forward until the related revenues are recognized. So let us understand inventory clearly. Inventory is a form of asset. Now that inventory has to be carried forward until usage of the inventory is completed to the finished product, then only the company will be able to recognize the revenue. So that is why we call this as a major part, a major proportion in terms of recognizing factor. For many companies in India, there are several inventories which form a part of the asset. Now, when you look into companies like Ashok Leyland, Bharat Forge, or let us look into L&T, or let us look into manufacturing companies like Tata Motors, Godrej, so many companies have got inventories as their major asset. Now, that asset has to be recognized. That means they have to be carried forward to a stage when they are completed and it's ready for sale. So only after the sale of the final product, the revenue can be recognized. Now, moving forward, this standard deals with the determination of cost and its subsequent recognition as expense, including any write down to the net realizable value. Let us again go through the point. This is very, very important with the determination of cost. So what is the cost of the inventory? So that is very, very important here. And its subsequent recognition as an expense. Immediately the cost is an expense because initially you are spending money to buy that inventory, including any write down. Now, for example, if there is going to be any write down, you are going to say that yes, it's a write off, it's gone. So that should be into the net realizable value. How much value is going to be written off the book? So that is why immediately to the net realizable value. It also provides guidance to the cost formulas that are used to assign cost to the inventory. So we need to assign the cost value to the inventory. Why? Because every inventory might not be the same. Every inventory will not have the same value altogether. But then this inventory will have its own set of formation, own set of understanding. So that is why we need to give that guidance altogether. And based on the guidance only, this is possible. Followed by the financial instruments, that is where we are going to speak, is AS32. The financial instruments that are representing the presentation in AS109, financial instruments and the biological assets. That includes plants related to agricultural activities, agricultural produce at the point of harvest, which is being spoken in the Indian Accounting Standard 41 of agriculture. So now if you look into the inventory, there are different standards which are being used for the presentation factor, starting with the financial instruments, which is starting at the IND AS32, which is a very, very important thing, starting with the AS109, which is going to talk about the financial instruments, and then we are going to talk about AS41, which is going to talk about the agriculture related produce during at that point of time. So these are all the accounting standards which have been specifically designed, developed in in order to talk about that particular nature of reporting, particular nature of accounting. Now, moving forward, areas where this section does not apply. So there are certain sections where this will not apply. Let's understand those sections first. Producers of agriculture and forest products. So producers of agricultural products and forest products, agriculture produce after the harvest, once the harvest is over, minerals and mineral product to the extent that they are measured at the net realizable value in accordance with well-established practices in those industry. Now, why do we are not investing, getting into the agriculture and forest product? Because we cannot treat them as inventory. They are a separate factor of growth. They are a separate sector altogether. So they will be treated in a different standard altogether. So anybody who's involved in the business of agriculture and forest products altogether, then they produce and the harvest the minerals and the mineral products to the extent at which they are measured at the net realizable value. All these things are very, very important, and they are in accordance to the well-established practices of the industry. So other than these factors, they would be recognized accordingly under separate sections. Moving forward, when such inventories are measured at net realizable value, there is a change in the value, and that is recognized in the profit or loss happening in that period. So for these kind of factors, you will not be able to measure it. So they will keep on, the values will keep changing for the inventories, and they will be measured at that point of time. Followed by commodity brokers, traders who measure their inventory at fair value. Now let's try to understand the concept of MCX, that is called as Multi-Commodity Exchange in India. Multi-Commodity Exchange in India is like another stock exchange through which you can trade in commodities. But then let's say that I am holding a multi-commodity, I'm holding a commodity like silk, or I'm holding a commodity like gold, or if I'm holding silver, those kind of assets cannot be counted as inventory. Why? Because they are just tradable values. They are issued at fair cost and they are to the sell, and changes in fair value less than the cost are recognized as profit and loss. They are only trading purpose. Today, if I buy a commodity as an X amount of price, and tomorrow if there is going to be a decline in that commodity value, automatically the fair value will be a difference altogether. They are not inventory factors which are going to be used for production. They are only for commercial trading purpose. So in that category, the AS2 standard of inventories cannot be applied. Moving forward, the net inventories referred in paragraph 3A are measured in the net recognizable that at certain stages of production. This occurs when agriculture has been invested for minerals or extracted, and the sale is assured in forward contract or in the government guarantee when an active market exists and there is a negligible risk of failure to sell. So for example, agricultural crops which have been invested or minerals that have been extracted from the earth, the sale is assured with a forward contract. That means it's already been booked in the market that this is the price at which it is going to sell. Or when there is an active market and the risk is very less, we know that definitely this product is going to sell, definitely it's going to go forward. In that category, we are not going to account for it, and these inventories are excluded from only the measurement requirements of the standard. Only from the measurement standpoint, I am going to take it out altogether. So that is where we are trying to make into this particular section. Now let's try to understand the point of the brokers or traders who are not buying or sell. I mean, like, when we talk about the stock brokers who buy and sell commodities and others on their own account, we are not going to include them here because that's, again, as I have told you, it's only a trading purpose here. The inventories referred in paragraph are to be required, are to be acquired with the purpose of selling and generating profit from that. We are not going to take into picture. When these inventories are measured at fair value less than the cost to sell, they are excluded only from measurement requirements of the standard. We can do it all together in terms of understanding the value. Now, moving forward, let's try to understand the definition here. The definition says that inventories are asset. Definitely, yes, they are the one of the major form of assets for many company. In what ways? Held for sale in ordinary course of business, in the normal course of doing a business in terms of manufacturing. They are being held as assets in the due course of business. Second thing, they are used in the process of production for such sale. By producing a good and then selling it in the market, they come into this factor, followed by in the form of materials or supplies to be consumed in the production process or rendering of services. So if you're going to render services, if you're going to look into the services factor altogether, then that will be also taken into picture, taken into account, followed by the net realizable value that is being estimated. Now that is very, very important. Why? Because when we are talking about the estimation, the ordinary course of business is supposed to be less estimated cost of completion rather than the estimated cost itself necessary to make the sale. So that is very, very important. It is necessary to make the sale. The fair value would have been received on the sale of the asset, the transfer of liability, the ordinary transaction that is happening between market and the measurement date. So at any given point of time, when the inventory is going to be sold in the market at a particular price, so we are going to measure the value of the inventory in the market on that particular date and time, which is going to give the fair value and between the market participants and the difference. So let's see what is the level, what is the competitive price that is available. So we are going to measure it and the measurable price is going to be recorded. Now, moving forward, let's talk about measurement of inventory. So we start with the cost of the inventory. What is the cost that is involved in terms of the inventory? Cost of the purchase. So when you are buying that inventory, yes, you are going to spend some money there, followed by cost of conversion, the cost that is involved in converting that raw material into a fixed asset. So there is going to be a cost of conversions, followed by the other costs. There might be administrative costs, there might be managing costs, there might be a labor factor, all those things that will come into picture. Cost of inventories of a service provider, very, very important. Why? Because if that person is going to supply with the logistics, the handling factors, that is also going to come into picture. Cost of agriculture produce harvested from biological assets. So it is the factor where you will be able to see that the cost of agriculture produced from the biological asset, even those values will be included in the factors in terms of measurement of inventories. Followed by the cost formula. The cost of inventory items that are not ordinarily interchangeable, goods or services produced and segregated for a specific project shall be assigned by specific indication of their individual cost. So that is also very, very important here. Why? Because when we are talking about this cost factor, when we are talking about those inventory things, it becomes highly important for each one of us to understand the cost that is being managed in terms of buying it. So he says that, now for example, ordinarily interchangeable goods or services, that has to be segregated, it has to be measured, it has to be found out clearly what is the value, how it is being measured, at what cost we are doing it. The second thing is that the cost of the inventory will always use the FIFO method, the first in first out method, the weighted average cost formula, what we say that VACC method, the weighted average cost formula. So we will use a priority method. Based on certain priority, the weighted will be given to the value of the product, and all inventories having the similar nature of the entity. For inventories with different nature or for use, different cost formulas have to be justified. Now that depends on the company. What kind of inventories, what is the value of the inventory, how are we looking into it in form of thing. So that becomes a very, very important factor altogether in this matter, in this ideology altogether. Now, the net realizable value. The net realizable value may not be recoverable in terms if the inventories are damaged, if they become wholly or partially obsolete, or if their selling prices have declined. So in that case, what will happen? We will not be able to recognize the value. The cost of inventories may also not be recoverable if case the estimated cost of completion or the estimated cost incurred to make the sale have increased. So in both ways, if you start understanding, if you start measuring the value, you will be able to understand this very clearly by saying that, many a times when the cost of the inventory is something that has to be recovered, that has to be understood. And if, when we are talking about the estimated cost of completion or the estimated cost to be incurred has increased, then automatically there will be difference in terms of buying it and then taking it forward. Now, the practice of writing inventories down below the cost to net realizable value is consistent with the view that assets should not be carried forward with excess of amount expected to be realized. Now, you have to be very careful as an auditor trying to understand. Please put the net realizable, mark down the value of the price, and please do not carry forward the asset imagining or thinking that the value of the asset will go up in the coming years. That is not going to happen at any given point of time. Why? Because then the asset value may decline. That is definite, but it's not sure that we are going to increase it. So let us not take an assumption and increase the value of the asset. Now, the recognition as an expense. Now, this is very, very important. Why? Because inventories are sold. The carrying amount of those inventories shall be recognized as an expense. When they are being sold, the period in which they are related, the revenue is recognized. So, you have to understand one side when you are purchasing it, when you are taking it, it's an expense. The other side, when that inventory is completed and sold, it becomes a revenue altogether. The amount of write down of inventories to the net realizable value of all losses shall be recognized as an expense, and it has to be written down. So suppose you are writing down the value of an inventory. At that point of time, you need to understand the difference here very clearly, and it has to be recognized as an expense in the long run. Followed by which the amount of any reversal of any write down of inventories. Now, for example, that's going to happen arising in case of increase of net realizable value, in case when the value increases, shall be recognized as a reduction in the amount of inventory recognized till the period until which it is being completely realized. So until you take it to the book of accounts where it has been completely sold and it has been taken, until then there is an expense cost that has to be recognized. Followed by the disclosure. Disclosure is very, very important. Why? Because during the accounting period, the policies adopted in measuring including the cost formulas that is used, you have to tell them so the investors know on what basis it has been measured. Followed by the total carrying amount of inventories and the carrying forward in terms of appropriate entity. The carrying amount of inventories to be carried forward, that is at less value or at a higher value, that has to be carried forward, that has to be returned. So all these things have to be shown in your account book. Then only it will be easier for us to go completely in public and tell the transparency in terms of maintaining your account books. With this, I come to the end of this session. I hope and believe that the session was highly interesting, useful, and of a great help to you. In the upcoming sessions, we will be talking about the different factors of assets in terms of the IFRS. Until then, stay tuned, stay blessed, and stay enlightened forever. Thank you once again for joining me today on this wonderful session.